Um, it's Sunday night. It's December 2nd, so the night of December 2nd. Just adjusting the camera to make sure the angle's right. Tonight felt like a good night to talk because it was a month and a day ago today. So, October 29th was my birthday, and that was on a Monday, and it was the following Thursday, which I want to say was November 1st. My anxiety reached just a one of the highest peaks that I think it's ever reached in my entire life. It was a panic attack, but I don't even really know if it was I don't even know what to call it. It was like, and some of you may be able to relate to this, is that like you have that voice in the back of your head that's reality. It's telling you that like you're okay, everything is gonna be okay, and you know yourself. But then you have this other voice that just leads you downhill very, very quickly. And in the Y direction that was given to me, I went way downhill. And it was a panic attack, and it just continued and continued and continued, and it was to the point that like it felt out of body. I remember I walked over. There's like a small like local massage parlor. I went and got just a full body back massage, and just feeling just like limp, just like even my face. I just felt like I just felt like I had lost complete control of like my muscles, and I just didn't feel like myself at all. I felt like I had just been wiped clean of every ounce of positivity in my body. And I knew from that day forward that I needed to create a plan, that I needed to I mean, it was manic. It was easily one of the worst days I can remember. And I knew that like I can't keep having days like this, that I can't keep living like this. And just anxiety coming from all kinds of directions, and jumping to worst case scenario in every single aspect, and just taking your biggest fears and twisting them and turning them into reality, and making things that seemed like dull aches years ago or even months ago become these real life just crisis scenarios in your head. That's exactly how I felt. I didn't want to move. I didn't want to talk to anybody. I just felt limp, like I said, and so I knew that like I couldn't keep living like this. That something needs to change. That I need to create a plan, and and if that plan doesn't work, then some serious changes like need to be made. So this also goes to show that what you see on social media is, I'm just gonna say, is very fake. Like it's not reality. Yes, I've seen some cool places, but this is all happening in the background. This is all happening behind the lens. So, anyways, I ended up setting up an appointment to go speak with a psychiatrist, and I mean, and it was helpful, it was, but I don't want to get too much in the details of that because that's not really the point of what I'm getting at, because there are two like big things that have helped me that I want to help get across. And once again, I am no expert. This is just my own real life experience. And I mean, I graduated from college with like a 2.1 GPA in psychology. So like on paper, I'm certainly no expert, but this is just my real life experience. And so hopefully with what I'm about to tell you, this can be helpful. So, I mean, I've been formally diagnosed with generalized anxiety disorder, GAD, OCD, hypochondria, and ADD. And so, I mean, I think that, and I'm guilty of this too, I'm just as guilty as the person sitting next to me, is that it's sometimes in the moment it's nice to have a diagnosis so you can identify the problem and find a quick fix, but at the same time it's kind of a label, and a label, in my opinion, isn't really the best way to go about healing. I see it more as a route for correct recovery because everyone's so different. OCD is so different for one person than it is for another person. Generalized anxiety disorder is just so different for one person than it is for the next person. Same goes for everything else. So, and I'm going to use an image that I've created, I don't want to say created, but that I've envisioned by talking to some special people and doing some reading, is that anxiety is the umbrella. Anxious manifestations is the umbrella. And OCD, illness, anxiety disorder, whatever, are just underneath that umbrella. But you know what the main issue is. And what I'm learning to understand through just reading and talking, I think a big thing that got me through that manic day was reaching out to people, and I've mentioned this before, was just reaching out to people that I hadn't reached out to before. And just told them how I was feeling, and they gave me resources and ideas that were really helpful that I didn't realize existed here. But anyways, I think, yes, anxiety, anxious manifestations are, and I completely forgot what I was going to say. This happens all the time. I knew exactly where I was going to go with this, but I lost it completely, so give me 1 second. But try to envision that again, that these anxious manifestations or anxiety are the root problem, are the umbrella, and these other diagnostics, I guess, are just branches off that. So I think that, yes, I remember. So anxiety is not a life sentence. And again, this is just something I've learned based off reading, based off talking to some very special people. It's not a life sentence. Anxiety is simply awareness, and I don't even like to think of it as like a disorder. A disorder makes it sound like there's something wrong with your brain. And I think anxiety in a lot of ways comes with a lot of intelligence. I think that anxiety and creativity definitely go hand in hand. Anxiety and intelligence go hand in hand. If you're very anxious about something, it means you're very aware about something. And so it's simply a feeling of awareness that you're more susceptible, that you may be more susceptible to than another person. So there's nothing wrong with that. And so think about that. That it's just that you are very aware, therefore you worry, therefore you're more likely to be fearful. So anxiety is our natural, these sensations, these bodily sensations are our body's natural reaction. So I think that leads into like the second point that I wanted to get into is, and this is something that I was recently introduced to, and this is going to sound kind of paradoxal, I think is the right word. It's going to sound like a paradox, but dealing with anxiety. So dealing with like an intrusive thought or just an uncomfortable sensation, because they often just come out of nowhere. Sometimes you wake up with them. Sometimes you're having a great day and then let's say you have a beer and then just a rush of anxiety comes through. It's different for everyone. My anxiety has gotten so bad to the point that I've physically just been like shaking my head like we're not going there, like we're not thinking about this. But I've learned that anxiety, it's like tug of war. The harder you pull against anxiety, the harder it's just going to pull even harder against you. So the harder you resist anxiety, the more and more it's just going to come back. So I'm going to say this in the most simpler term, in the most simple terms that I possibly can, is just ride with it. And so what I mean by that is, let's say you're going about your day and you have an anxious sensation come up. You have an intrusive thought appear. And so your body's initial reaction, your fight or flight response, is to want to get rid of that as quickly as possible. That may work temporarily, but you know good and well it's going to come back. So, and I've been getting a lot of this just through some reading that I've been doing, and it's been very helpful. And if anyone wants some resources based off this, like I'm more than happy to provide you with that. Like you know how to get in touch with me. But anyways, rather than resist it, let it in. So, okay, I'm at work, I'm driving, I'm laying in bed, I'm on my computer, and this intrusive thought or anxious feeling pops up. So it's there. And welcome it. And almost put like a kind of a comical image to it. Like my anxiety a lot of the time has been, I've pictured it as like this person, it's like a guy who, it's like he just jumps in front of me with an intrusive thought or image or message that I don't want there. And I shake my head to get rid of it. And so that's reacting to, in my opinion, that's reacting to anxiety poorly, and that just worsens the problem in the long run. So, welcome it. And I'm okay, this is there. I don't know where it came from, I don't know why it's there, but it's there. And so, usually when those intrusive thoughts or images or whatever arrive, you're kind of just like, that's when the what ifs come through. That's when like what if this, worst case scenario thoughts come through. And this is gonna sound so much easier said than done, and it is. It's way easier said than done. But transition that to so what. So these what if thoughts come through. Okay, so what? And you're still going to get anxious manifestations from that. And this could sound crazy. I get why you might be like kind of skeptical by this, because it's like if I bring these anxious thoughts in, it's just going to worsen the problem. But switch it to so what? And so what if this happens? So what if this is the case? So what? It's just a thought. Thoughts can't hurt me. And then let these anxious manifestations do whatever they need to do to your body. Let them kind of increase your heart rate, or tighten up your throat, or give you like that quenching feeling in your stomach. And then do something that indulges you, that like fully engages you. So for me, that's like exercise. Like I need to focus when I exercise. That could be going out and taking pictures, that could be editing photos, that could be making a mix, whatever. Something that engages me, or just simply doing my job, doing work, teaching. Something that takes your full brain. And I don't mean it as like a distraction, but, and this could be tough the first time you do it. This could be very difficult the first time you kind of go through this process of just writing it out. But then after practice and practice and practice, it'll help you understand that you're capable of dealing with your body's reactions to these anxious manifestations and these intrusive thoughts, and then they'll eventually just have less and less of an impact on you and make you realize that these are just thoughts, and they can't harm you. So I hope that helps. And just to kind of lay it out, it's called The Dare Response, and it's a book that I'm still in the process of reading, but it's just a concept that I haven't really thought of up until this point. I always just was like, I shouldn't be thinking about this, so I'm just gonna shake it from my head and just go do something else to distract myself. And it's like, while that may work temporarily, I know good and well that these feelings are going to come back, and it's just going to be the same, if not worse. So, for some reason my camera just shut off after 20 minutes on the dot. And also I noticed after watching it that it was so dark, so hopefully you can see me a little bit better. But what I was getting at, what I was going to continue saying, is that you have this intrusive thought, you have this manifestation, and recognize that it's there, welcome it in a way, and give it an image that's almost comical, that's less intimidating. Okay, this is here. I don't know why it's here. I don't know where it came from, but it's here. And let it do what it needs to do to your body. Let it manifest. Then, once it manifests, once it does, because these things do go away, they do, then engage yourself in whatever you know occupies your mind. And then you know that you're capable of experiencing any anxious manifestation or any anxious thought, intrusive thought that comes your way. And I mean, anxiety doesn't just magically disappear. It doesn't. Recovery from a time of being in a very anxious state, like, and I've said this before, isn't just an overnight flip switch. It's a level out process. There could be a lot of worry, there could be a lot of fear, there could be a lot of tears, there could be a lot of doubt, but trust that these are good and stay consistent. And I think that's the biggest thing, is just trust. And I wanted to bring this all together because 1 month ago, I mean, I was doubting everything. I was doubting, like, why I'm even here, like what my future's about to be. And like I said, I felt out of body, I felt manic. And right now in this moment, I feel a lot better. I still have my moments, I still have my tough days per se, but they don't impact me like they did a month ago or the month before. So that's what I mean. Everything I just explained is what I mean, write it out. And I hope this is helpful. And once again, if you have any questions or just want some resources, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. You know how to get in touch with me. Again, this is called The Dare Response, and it's a book that I would highly recommend. I'm still reading it, so I still have a lot of learning to do, but I hope you found this helpful, and so I'll wrap it up there, and I'm sure I will be talking again soon.